Hello, everyone. I'm Maria Atasi, and today I'm speaking with Shihua Yeow, who is Vice President and Group Counsel Asia at American Express. Shihua is based in Singapore. Welcome, Shihua. Let's start off by telling the audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, Maria. So I'm Shihua. I'm based in Singapore and I'm Group Counsel for Asia for American Express. So I'm a lawyer for the company.
Wonderful. That's really cool. For those in our audience who may be new to My Career in Six, we'll start with 6 rapid-fire questions, followed by 6 more detailed questions. Are you ready, Shihua?
Yes.
All right, let's start. So who or what inspires you?
I'll say nature. I like to observe little things around me. It could be plants, animals, insects, trees. Yeah, so that's really what inspires me.
Very original answer. We haven't heard that one before. Do you attribute your success to luck or hard work?
I would say a bit of both, luck and hard work. And also, I would say people who have looked out for me along the way.
What drives you?
What drives me, I'll say new challenges that help me to grow as a person and also professionally.
Favorite quote or motto you live by?
Can I have two? So I practice yoga, and I remember one time when I was at a yoga retreat, right? A yoga teacher told me whenever I feel fearful or feel afraid, I should repeat to myself, I'm okay and I fear nothing, right? So that's something that I keep going back to, my yoga mantra. Another thing would be the quote, like, do not worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will worry about itself, right? So I think those two usually gets me across most difficult things.
I like it. When applying for a new opportunity, what % of requirements do you feel you need in order to be confident in your application?
About 70%, I would say.
Okay. And the last question in this section, what is the coolest payments company today?
There's only one answer to that, right?
Yes,
I'll
it's a
say
good question.
it's American Express. Not just because I work for the company, but I'll say firstly, I will only work for companies that I believe in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'll say Amex is really cool because being an Amex card member, it's not just about having a card product that you can make payments with, right? Membership has its privileges, right? So having an Amex card unlocks a whole new experience. I'll say especially when you're traveling, right? So it gains you access to things like airport lounges, hotel upgrades, dining offers. So I say that is very cool for a payment product.
It is. It definitely is. We like to keep that question to hear more, to hear what you're going to say. Well, thank you, Shua. Now that we know a bit more about you, let's move on to the more in-depth questions about your journey. What has been your biggest challenge as you climbed the ladder in the payments industry?
I'll say definitely really that would be balancing my work commitments and my home commitments, right? And that is a tough thing. I'm a mother of 2 children, so they are 9 years old and 7 years old. And my work requires me to travel every now and then, right? So as an example, that is a thing that takes me away from the family sometimes, right? So I think for that, strong support is very important. So I'm very lucky to get very strong support from my family and also from my husband, right? And we have a agreement, right? My husband and myself that at any one point in time, one of us must be around, right? So we can't both be traveling for work at the same time when the children are at an age where they need caregivers around them, right? And some stability. So I remember for once couple of years ago where I had to travel to Hong Kong for a meeting that I couldn't really reschedule. And at that point, my husband was traveling for business as well. Right, so to work around that, this was when my daughter was 1.5 years old. So she's very, very tiny. And my mom, who is a caregiver for my children, who helps us out some days, she wasn't comfortable taking care of my daughter alone, especially during the nighttime. So what I did was I flew my mom and my daughter to Hong Kong with me. So I remember there was a chaotic time. I was attending to meetings in the day, and at night I went back to the hotel to tend to my daughter. Right, so it's tough and it's challenging. But as people say, what is it? The years, the days are long, but the years are short, right? So during this time, when the kids are growing up, I try to treasure the time I have with them and also enjoy their growing up years.
Definitely. I love that. It is a very big challenge, especially being a woman, I think. But But it's nice to see that you have it figured out and that you have great support in the family, especially with your husband.
I wouldn't say I'll figure it all out. But,
Well, halfway there at least is still good enough, you know?
yeah.
What do you feel has been your greatest accomplishment in your career?
Okay, so I'll say the team that I lead. So I lead a regional team of in-house counsel, and we provide the legal support to everything that American Express does in the Asia region. And it gives me a lot of fulfillment really to see my team members grow in their careers, right? Become better lawyers, excel at what they do, gain recognition for their work, and also, most importantly, to become very practical, trusted advisors to their business stakeholders. I think at a certain stage of a career, it's all about the people around you, right? And I think that would be really something that I think I'm very proud of when I think about my achievements.
Wonderful. So if there is one thing you could have done differently, what would that have been?
So as I introduced myself, I'm a lawyer for the company.
Mm.
I actually started my career as a litigator, right? So when I was younger, I thought I had a very clear idea of what I want to do in my life. Maybe I watched too much legal dramas on TV, right? I really wanted to be a litigator, argue cases in court, right? And I made a lot of decisions in the early part of my career based on that very, I thought, clear, but really very narrow idea of what I wanted to do, right? So I remember doing internships at law firms in the dispute resolution departments, right? And I landed my first job, right, at one of those law firms where I interned at. I didn't really think broadly about the opportunities or possibilities that were available to me. And I definitely never thought at that time that one day I'll be an in-house counsel for a company in the payments industry, right? So if there's one thing I'll do differently, I would say try to be more open-minded in the early stages of my career, right? And that's a piece of advice that I give to young people that I work with today, right? Or students who intern with us, right? To really tell them to be open-minded, explore different opportunities, and take the time to figure out what you are good at and what drives you.
That is great advice. So I know you touched on this a little bit, but how important have your networks and connections been in assisting your career in the payments landscape?
I would say network, connections, relationships are all very important, regardless of what you do in the payments industry. Especially so in a very fast evolving industry like payments, right, which presents many novel issues. And to keep up with the hottest topics, right, and trends, it's very important to be plugged in into industry groups, right, to know what other companies are doing, what challenges your peers are facing, right, and how they're thinking of those challenges. And staying ahead on trends puts me in a better position to anticipate, understand new areas of legal risk, and better equip me to carry out my job as a legal counsel to the company. I think one thing like industry groups, right? Like what we're doing here, Women's in Payment, that's a really quick and effective way for us to broaden our networks.
Definitely. We're happy to have you here at Women in Payments. So as a senior female leader, how have you helped shape the culture of your current business?
I do try to consciously cultivate a very supportive, nurturing, and inclusive work culture. So one thing I do is to support our women interest network within American Express. So we have a lot of events at which some of them I would share my career journey, my perspectives as a female leader with other colleagues, and also sharing things like what I just shared with you, challenges balancing work and family commitments. Basically, I think it's quite important to assure other women who are in the same position, right, that they are not alone on this journey. And sometimes, women leaders tend to portray themselves as superwomen, right? And that's something I try not to do because I think we need to be realistic, right, and let people around us who are going through similar challenges know that we are not superwomen, right? We're trying our best to manage, right? And as you said, like, to figure out what works, right? We are all on that journey together.
I love that. And last but certainly not least, what advice would you give to aspiring women professionals in this industry? And I know you gave us a little blurb, the question before, but if there's one big advice, what would that be?
One advice I would give is to be vocal about opportunities that you are interested in. Don't assume that others will or should know how you are thinking or what you are interested in, right? And be very vocal and don't overthink it, right? I've observed that sometimes women in particular tend to overthink, right? Am I suitable for the new role? Is this something that I'll be good at, right? Or a stretch assignment I'm interested in, right? So don't overthink. Of course, it's good not to be overconfident or arrogant, but sometimes
Mhm.
overthinking decisions, right? You're not helping yourself, right, that way.
Well, thank you so much. And on that very inspiring note, thank you, Shihua, for sharing your career journey with us. And thank you all for listening. And I encourage you to join us online for the many other episodes of My Career in 6, where we chat with inspirational leaders like Shihua from around the world of payments.
Thank you.